Hey everyone, finished watching the next episode of Mystic Knights, The Wish. This is another episode with really bad audio sync issues and consistent distortion. Thankfully, the restoration exists, a far more preferable way to watch this episode. Ivar and Angus happen across a fairy being chased by a monster. Angus defeats the monster, and the fairy tells them it'll grant him one wish. He can't think of what to wish for, and the fairy says she can grant it any time. As Ivar and Angus leave, they find themselves ambushed by Torque and Temra soldiers. Rowan shows up and scares away the army. Back in Kells, the knights and Kahad agree to suggest their own ideas to Angus for his wish. Ivar asks him to consider wishing for the return of his kingdom's chalice. In return, they may even grant him his own holiday. Deirdre wants to wish for the skill and wisdom to rule in the future. Kahad says he would wish for the whisker of a white tiger. It's a rare ingredient useful for curing illness. Later, Rowan says his wish would be to know his family. Angus understands how important this would be to Rowan, but he also sees that everyone is pressuring him, and he'll feel guilty just wishing for gold like he wants. He storms off, upset. Queen Maeve, meanwhile, makes a plan to take Angus's wish. Miter conjures up a dark tornado to kidnap Angus. He warns Maeve, though, she must only use the power he's granting her to obtain the wish. To do anything else would put Temra at risk. Rowan tells the knights he doesn't think it was alright of them to pressure Angus. Aideen goes to find him. Angus tells Aideen what's going on, and to cheer him up, she gives him something. At first, it appears just to be a common rock, but Aideen says it's not just a rock, it's something she gave him.
It's a rock!
Angus appreciates the gesture and tucks the rock away in his sleeve. Suddenly, the dark tornado picks up Angus and carries him away. Aideen and the knights follow the tornado. Queen Maeve holds Angus captive. She offers him riches in exchange for his wish. Angus cuts his bindings with the rock Aideen gave him and transforms. He battles his way out of Maeve's castle. Maeve tries to use Miter's magic to recapture Angus despite Torque's warning about what Miter said earlier. Outside, the knights try to fight the tornado, but it's too powerful. They can't even aim their weapons at it. Angus decides he'll use his wish to send the tornado back to Maeve's castle. Inside, Maeve begs Miter to save her. He complies and mocks her for not getting Angus's wish. Back in Kells, Angus has lost his wish, but he's just happy he and his friends are alright. This is a great episode, definitely a strong focus for Angus. The monster at the beginning, I'm sure, is another recycled Beetleborgs monster, but I can't place it. A rescued fairy granting a wish is a pretty common plot in folklore, and I think Mystic Knights successfully puts its own spin on it. A subtle bit that may be foreshadowing something in the future is Rowan's potential wish. We've had little nods towards his past, but it hasn't been explored in depth yet. We know he's a prophesized warrior named Draganta. He's got a mark on his arm to identify him as such, and he was adopted by Kahad. Other than that, nothing about his family so far. Maeve and Miter get some bits to enforce their rocky relationship. I was kind of hoping for more of a karmic comeuppance for Maeve than just Miter making fun of her failure. Angus's wish ultimately gets used to save everyone, and while it's a way to grant the wish while still keeping the status quo, it feels a little underwhelming. The dark tornado just doesn't feel like that much of a threat. I think it should have destroyed at least part of Maeve's castle, or been shown causing some other destruction. This would establish it as an uncontrollable threat requiring more than what the knights could typically do. Instead, we just see it pick up Angus and drop him off for Maeve totally fine. Also, it may have tied up and gagged Angus itself. Another thing I really like here is Aideen's gift to Angus. At first, it appears to be just a sweet gesture, but the camera focuses on Angus slipping the rock into his sleeve, so we know it'll be important later. The ending is fine, but has to have some humor forced in. I don't think it was necessary. I think a more solemn ending with just Angus would have worked better. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.
A worthless stone for me.
That's not worthless. It's a